Alright, so the next card is kill it! Get away! Hey, what is up, YouTube? Kolst here, and welcome back to the fourth card review for Voyage to the Sunken City, the new Hearthstone expansion coming out in like 2 weeks or so. And again, we're going to be reviewing for Arena. Again, don't forget to check out my Twitter, where I'm running a giveaway right now for a standard bundle for the new set, and as well on this channel in a future video, and also on my Twitch sometime probably next weekend. I'll have a giveaway there as well for 3 bundles in total, so definitely make sure to check out all those platforms to maximize your odds of winning the giveaway. With that, let's get right into this card review. We are just going to be reviewing neutral cards here. I usually wouldn't have there are only going to be 6 of them, but I wanted to make a separate video for these just because they printed a card which I think absolutely needs to be banned from Arena by the time the expansion comes out already, because this is a card that I do not want this card anywhere near Arena. I won't bury the lead. I'm going to start talking about that one right now. It is Pelican Diver. This is a 5-mana 6/4 dormant rush, immune while attacking. It's also a pirate, which has some synergy relevance as well. But I mean, I don't know where to start with this card. So there's some of these cards. It's important to think about. There are 3 of these cards that they're actually printing right now, but this one stands out as by far the most oppressive. These cards all have dormant for 1 turn with rush. But there are a lot of the cards in this set where you want to think about like what dormant for 1 turn with rush actually means. It's basically stealth with invulnerability is what it means. It has one important downside, which is that it's not able to hit face the turn that it spawns. So that could be important, especially in like constructed, that might be important. But this comes with the critical upside of immune while attacking. So there's already one immune while attacking card, which was completely banned from Arena. You can still discover it theoretically sometimes, and sometimes you will, but there is kind of a precedent for them banning cards with immune while attacking already, because this is a condition that is particularly toxic in Arena. Arena games get really trivialized when one person sticks an immune while attacking minion that doesn't die immediately. It just kind of ends games automatically. So, this is a condition that I think we don't want in Arena. There are some times where theoretically you could just not develop in Arena on like turn 5, turn 6, and then let this pop and then flame strike it away, right? So it might not always be super nuts, but I mean, this is going to trivialize a lot of games. The way Arena games will often go, you're just going to be developing normally. You play a 4 or 5 on turn 4, whatever, and then your opponent just plays this, and you're just like, well shit, right? There's what are you gonna do? You just get wrecked, right? Maybe you have an Annoyatron, but like otherwise, I mean, it's gonna trivialize just a whole bunch of games. And yeah, this is just something that I don't know what else I need to say about this. Like, this card just needs to not see existence in Arena. Please, if I'm gonna be very disappointed, Blizzard, please don't disappoint me if you guys don't ban this on release. I don't want this to be in the game like 2 weeks and ban it later. Not like just, I don't think this card needs to be anywhere near Arena. Please just, it's a common, by the way. That's the biggest thing, is there's a lot of busted cards being put into the game in this set, but most of them are like colossal minions, like legendaries, and they're class legendaries. So, okay, you're not losing to the same card constantly. So it's probably okay, but like you're going to have a lot of decks where you're going to get like 1 or 2 losses to this card. Just because it's a neutral common, it's going to have an offering bonus because of the new set. It's going to be everywhere, and it's going to be deciding games everywhere. These are going to be ramming into each other. It's just, no, just we don't need this. Please just get rid of it. Oh, and by the way, like there's other ways you can abuse this as well. Like, I mean, imagine, we don't know what the set is, but like, I mean, imagine you can just Battle Master this on curve. It's like, oh, just please, no. But anyway, let's just move on. So while we're talking about that, let's talk about the other 2 cards that are in this, that are in the similar category. They're not as, I don't think, as nasty as the Gangplank was, but this one talking about next is the Pelican Diver. This is a 3-mana 2/4 dormant with 1 turn with rush and poisonous. So again, it's kind of like a stealth, but it also has immune, so it can't get like AoE'd immediately the turn you play it, and then it just comes out with rush and poisonous. So there's actually a Reddit post where there was a very top player, Miss Elbow, was actually complaining about all 3 of these cards together. But again, like this card is very, very strong. This is going to be one of the best neutral 3-drops to ever hit Arena. But I just don't think it's going to be nearly as nasty or oppressive as the Pelican Diver was. The way this thing functions, it's kind of like, there's a lot of cards you can compare it to. On curve, it's going to be like a 4/4 immune for 1 turn, basically, is how it's going to work out, because you can kill a 4 health minion with it. It has 4 health as well. And that's just kind of nuts, right? But I mean, you can compare it to something like, if you compare it to like Sunwell Initiate, like Sunwell Initiate a lot of times is actually better than that. Like Sunwell Initiate would kill something, like it might kill a 3-2 or a 2-3 or a 3-3, and then you get a 3-1 Divine Shield, and the 3-1 Divine Shield might be better than, you know, well, effectively the 4-1, but I mean, it's a poison, right, that you get off of this. It might actually be better on curve a lot of the time. So on curve, this is not going to be like the most broken 3-drop we've ever seen, I don't think. But you can also obviously compare it. It's going to gain a lot of utility in the late game, where you can use it as 3 mana Delayed Assassinate. You know, we have all in the game right now 3 mana Delayed Assassinate. Big difference with Wasp. Big difference is that you can actually deny this. You can, if you have an AoE, you can just clear it off the board before it gets to do anything. The Slime Scale Diver, you are just not able to deny. The big upside of the Wasp, though, is that if they're not able to deny it, you can actually, you know, just leave it there and be really obnoxious. And as I mentioned before, the one thing about the Rush Dormant combination is that you can't actually hit face, and I have killed people with giant wasps, okay? I have won games like that, so that matters, okay? That really matters. But, you know, overall, like, that immunity is going to be good a lot of the time. And you can also compare it as well to Stoneskin Basilisk. Stoneskin Basilisk is more of a, essentially more of a high roll win condition card, because, like, it has the downside that it can be interacted with much more easily, but, you know, that's assuming that they have pings. If they don't have the ability to ping, Basilisk might, if you're against especially a non-ping class, like, they might just get completely kecked out of the game. You play us on curve and they only have like 4 and 5 drops, then they probably just lost the game, right? So this thing most of the time will not have that same potential of winning the game. So overall, I think it's going to be kind of annoying because it's just really, really strong all the time. This is going to be nearly an auto pick card as a neutral common. Going to be too common probably with the offering bonus, but I don't think it's going to be like, this is not something where I'm like, oh my god, get this out of the game, because it's going to be so strong. Always good, but just not, it's not going to like win games by itself all the time. And then the last one with this effect here is Pelican Diver, which is a 1 mana 4/1 beast, dormant for 1 turn with Rush. So I mean, 1 mana deal 4, you just say like, what the hell? But I mean, if you think about it, like, using this is not always going to be super easy. Like, you can obviously, there's some very powerful things you can do. Like, imagine your opponent just plays like a 4 health minion on turn 3, turn 4, whatever. You can just play this and then say, okay, I'm going to deal with that, and then I guess I have the rest of my mana to draw cards or whatever, right? Because I don't want to give them something to trade into. So if you have, you know, the right kind of combinations of cards with this, you can do some pretty unfair things. It's a very strong 1 mana card, but you probably wouldn't want to play this on turn 1 even, because I mean, they might just see it and be like, okay, and then just ping it off the next turn, you know, and it does nothing. And if you're gonna like use this delayed initiative, you still take damage from the minion that it's gonna kill, so that does matter as well in Arena. Like life total matters now, so the fact that it's delayed is a price. So it's definitely like, it's too much for a 1 mana card, but it's not crazy, I don't think. So again, it's not going to go in the same category. I think it's the weakest of the 3 of these, but it's definitely, you know, it's a good card. You're going to be seeing a lot of them. With that, let's move on to the other 3 cards that we're going to be reviewing today. The first one here is Naga Giant. This is a 20 mana 8/8 epic Naga, but it costs 1 less for each mana you spent on spells this game. You're probably just not going to have enough spells to make this good, realistically. Even if you were to theoretically spend like all of your mana on spells, this isn't playable until like turn 6. Theoretically, you could play it for free on turn 6, but realistically, that's in Arena, you don't have that many spells. Your deck is usually almost all minions. You need to be playing like Mage or something and have a couple like big spells, or Priest has some big spells. They have a 9 mana mass board clear now. Like, there are classes that can definitely use this, but for most classes, most of the time, this card's probably completely unpickable. Most Giants, you can at least usually play it for like 9-10 mana or something, worst case, but like, this is not like, this thing will be completely unplayable for a lot of classes. So if you have a lot of spells, you might be able to make this work, but you'll definitely want to be cautious about picking this. A lot of times it's going to be literally a dead card. Let's move on to this. Actually, we'll talk about this one last. We'll talk about Slithering Deathscale now. This is a 7 mana 5/9 Naga. Battle Cry. If you cast 3 spells while holding this, deal 3 damage to all enemies. As I've said in my other reviews, certain classes are going to be much better at triggering this effect than others. Like Mage and maybe Priest or Warlock potentially could be like much better than a lot of other classes. And Rogue, assuming we don't know what the rotation is going to be, but Rogue lately gets a lot of cheap spells that just like generate other stuff, you know, so Rogue could be able to use this very well. But it's going to depend again on like what your deck composition looks like if you have the ability to do this. However, worst case scenario, 7 mana 5/9, It's not exactly what you'd want. It doesn't have any like persistent text or anything. This is a battle cry, so it's not like you can trigger it later, right? So it's not gonna be scary. So a 5/9 that doesn't have taunt or anything, pretty bad, but sometimes not the worst thing in the world, right? So you could take it, kind of hoping that you might be able to make it work, or maybe not really expecting to always make it work. You have to actually be holding it while you cast the spells. It's not cast spells this game. You're not gonna like keep this in the opening hand though. And you know, so if you draw it in the late game, well, you're not gonna have triggered this effect, right? So I think it's gonna be pretty awkward. You're just never gonna, for that reason, even in decks with a lot of spells, you probably just won't expect to trigger this very often. So it's probably gonna be on the weaker side because it's just, you're really not gonna expect to be able to do it very often. The last one I'll talk about here is Queen Ashura, which is a 5-mana 5/5 Naga. Valkyrie, if you cast 3 spells while holding this, choose an ancient relic. What is an ancient relic, you may ask? Well, there is Ring of Tides, which is after you cast a spell, this becomes a copy of it that costs 1. There's some very disgusting things you can potentially do with that. Next one is Horn of the Ancients, 3 mana, add a Colossal Minion to your hand, it costs 1. So every Colossal Minion that we've seen, pretty much, some are more than others, but some of these are really busted. So basically add a automatic win to your hand, okay? Xalatoth, 2 mana after you cast a spell, deal 2 damage to the enemy hero and lose 1 durability. Okay, a way to Pyroblast to your opponent for 2 mana. Pretty good. Sometimes, in very specific situations. And the last one is Tidestone of Golganeth, which is shuffle 5 random spells to your deck, set their cost to 1, and draw 2 cards. So at worst, 1 mana draw 2, but also potentially, I mean, doing some really unfair stuff. That could be rather inconsistent though. So basically, a very crazy upside, which, you know, cast 3 spells, again, easier for some decks than others, but it's quite some powerful upside you're getting. I bet you're going to just take the Colossal a lot of the times. It is chance to like, there is a chance to kind of low roll a Colossal. Like you can't low roll super hard, but like if you get like the Druid one, I think, which is just a 6/5 with a 0/8, it's not providing you the value necessarily you might want. But I mean, sometimes, you know, all that health might be exactly what you need, right? And there's always going to be something you're going to want out of this, I think, basically, no matter what kind of position you're in, there's always going to be something. In Arena, you probably would just take the Colossal a lot of the time, but, you know, you want to keep in mind, like, maybe Ring of Tides, if you can copy something insane. You know, copy a Flame Strike, Firelance Portal, Eye of the Storm, right? Whatever. Be pretty potentially powerful, so... At worst case, the 5-mana 5/5 Naga, and the Naga tribe might be good too, because that can activate some things, so it's gonna be something you can definitely pick. If you expect to have a decent chance of getting it, then it's still a little crazy to pick it over some of the other broken legendaries that are in the set coming in right now. But, you know, sometimes it'll be up against 2 terrible legendaries, and you'll just say, well, this might work, so screw it, right? But alright, that is it for the card review here. Thanks a lot for hanging out, everyone. Don't forget to like the video, comment on what you think about the Gangplank Diver in particular, or this card, you know, just if you think this card needs to be banned, do you agree with me? Do you think I'm crazy? Do you think nothing should be banned from Arena? Whatever. And subscribe and hit the bell to make sure you check out future videos, because one of them will contain a YouTube giveaway. I believe I'll just ask people to comment something and then, you know, have that giveaway there, and check out the ones on Twitter and Twitch as well. Yeah, thanks a lot again. We'll see you guys in the next one.